if I just need the chain right now, I got the pack. I have the chain. I look like lesbian Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
We're on our way to get tarot cards for the podcast.
Yes. She forgot her tarot cards. We're gonna pick some up. At Purple Door. Shout out Purple Door. Got my eyes on it either way.
Yeah, that's a hard, like, amethyst is...
I got this and citrine one as well.
I don't think I would do a trade one-on-one. I'd rather
I'm sick.
keep my snappy cards, I think.
Eyes on that one for sure.
Yeah, that's weak as heck. Check it out.
I've never seen a cluster of it that big before, because I've seen a bunch of smoky quartz, but it's usually like, I don't know.
And it goes all the way around. Get that druzy goes all the way through it. Check that beastie out. Careful.
Yeah.
And I threw it on the ground.
No.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
I've had it for a while. I'm shocked, to be honest with you.
Well, possibly not for a while longer. We'll see how good the next checks are.
A whole table of orbs to ponder. Okay, so how do you go about picking cards?
I usually pick a deck that I feel drawn to, especially something that I know would relate to just me as a person and resonate with me. So that way it's easiest for me to convey the message for whoever the reading is for. For example, I'm a Cancer and I'm a moon child, and so the decks that I have already are based off of the moon. I have a moon oracle as well as some moon tarot decks. It's really cool. I went with Otherworld Tarot. It's a deck based off of fairies, elves, magicians, and other fairy folk.
Alright. Mission success.
My camera's upside down for some reason.
Check.
Check. Oh. Check.
Skirt.
Welcome to Ghost on the Aux episode.
That was the cold open.
Yes, episode 68. Thank you.
Hell yeah.
Episode 68. It's weird looking at that camera. Like last time, okay, we have two cameras this time. Say hi to your camera.
Hello, camera 2.
Yeah.
What's up?
It's weird that I get to look at a different one than you. Anyways, okay, so we're in the same recording space, but we have two cameras, and we have a new guest today. I'm Devin, by the way, and with me is Trey. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I am Emma. I am here with Ghost on the Aux. I'm absolutely stoked to be here and share all the magic of what I do with you guys. I have quite a bit to cover today.
Yeah, what let's get into that. Let's go straight in. What do you do? What are the things you're into? And what do you do?
Well,
I don't know, like I don't want to put one label on it. I want you to elaborate.
There's we can start with the websites. There's a few websites that I work with, and one of them is called keywesttourist.com.
Hell yeah.
It was created by my uncle and started by my dad. I help them with the music schedule that we post on there. We have a lot of really cool things for people who are interested in traveling to Key West. I was born there. My dad and uncle used to live there. They used to vacation there a lot, so they just have a lot of love for the place. And because they were there before, a lot of people found out about it, they knew like the old Key West and stuff. So they're just trying to save a bit of that in this new world where everyone's moving there and it's just becoming really expensive. So
Are you seeing a lot of people moving there rather than just tourism?
I've seen a lot of people move out actually.
Oh, really?
That's what I would
because of the
expect, yeah.
tourism. Yeah. But so we're trying to provide a little bit of a safety net for, local artists down there or people who work down there. So that way we don't lose that vacation spot as it is.
Yeah, because that would be pretty whack if everybody goes there to vacation for its character, and then everybody going there to vacation erases the character. It kind of sounds like similar situation what happened in Plymouth in Cape Cod.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Never been.
Yeah, or it's a certain town. I forget what exactly it's called. It's near Plymouth Rock. But it's got like this huge culture to it, but it also is a huge tourist trap. And so apparently I've only been there a couple of times as a kid, but apparently like way back in the day, it was way more of like an organic thing. Many such cases, you hate to see it.
Yeah. So that's why we were really motivated to kind of like create this space where people can, enjoy that part of it, being a tourist, as well as just like experiencing where to go see the live music that people who have lived there their whole lives are still playing and performing at the local bars, where to go on fishing charters, which hotels and guest houses to stay at that are like the most acclaimed. You can go right on the site and click for hotel reservations and links to their websites to find out more about everything that you want to do when you're there. So you can plan your entire trip before even leaving your house.
Awesome.
So is the idea more to support like local businesses as opposed and like protect them from encroaching like new business, or is it like
so
okay.
it's to keep the people like Schooner Wharf Bar who have been there since the old Key West days, and like support Fantasy Festival, which has been a iconic festival that they throw every year around Halloween. And it's really so that we can kind of find a balance between supporting the locals, because we offer free ads and like unbiased unpaid listings of attractions and everything that you can do there. So it's not like, this person paid me more to be able to say like I like them more.
Listing or something.
Yeah, exactly. So it's more like a genuine just love of the Key West that we want to share with other people, so that we could still, support them in going there and putting money into their economy, but also like if you want to, when you live there, contact us and have your job or your events or your fishing charter or anything like that. If you want that promoted for free, we do that.
That's
so
awesome.
That way they don't lose their spot down there, and everyone's coming, they'd spend their money with them.
I have a couple questions about this. Do you have like a curation process of like what makes it on, what doesn't, or is it just literally they hit you up and they want to be on it, they want to be listed, so you put them on, or it's in a well-known place, so you would put it on? Or
well, what we do is we go on to Facebook, all the websites itself, and my uncle has designed a program to pull all the information that is possible, like that's available to us.
Okay.
So if you post about it, we're promoting it for you. It doesn't matter if it's like, a new person or an old person. If we see that you're an artist in Key West or a business in Key West, we just try and pull as much information off we can, and then we'll try and reach out to you if you want like a specific picture or article or anything that you want up there.
It kind of reminds me, it seems like a more official and like fleshed out version of what Marty Spacel's got going on with
Treasure Coast Submerged.
Shout out Treasure Coast Submerged.
Shout out
Marty the GOAT. It does a lot of the same thing. I'm sure you've seen him just repost like every time there's a local music event or something. He just like screenshots and reposts it just 1-to-1 with the caption.
He's even
Yeah.
reposted the podcast a few times. Thank you for that.
Absolutely.
My other question was, now I'm forgetting what it was. Oh, so you were talking about like trying to kind of preserve but promote at the same time the local business and aesthetic and all that stuff. Do you ever worry about like the first thing that came in my head was almost like if you give something almost too much attention, all the tourists will like ruin it. Do you ever think about that? Does that like come into your head when you're like,
Yeah, I do
researching
think
a
about
place?
it a lot. Especially because it's kind of already happened to Key West. So that's why we figured, we'd do this kind of almost like a last ditch effort to try and just preserve what my dad and uncle and family has always loved so much about Key West. Like, yeah, I do agree with putting so much, highlight on going there and the tourism and how that's affecting the locals and they don't necessarily like it. But, you could always stay a few keys up or you just go down for a day. Doesn't matter if you're even going just for a concert and just want to, because people who have guest houses and stuff or Airbnbs, usually that's local people who are like offering up a room or something in their house where you can support them as well. So it's nice because you can find better places to be able to like actually put your money back into their market, rather than just buying from whatever tourist store they put in there recently. So
Right on. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised with how poppin' Key West is because I've never been to the Keys. I grew up in Florida my entire life, and I've never been to the Keys somehow.
I've been, I think,
but
that's wild.
I think twice I've been.
But what the thing that I remember the most about the Keys was in marching band. They and Sebastian High School were in a rank completely just to their own above everybody else because of how fucking huge their bands were. We're talking like 300 plus students in this band, which was unprecedented. And it's because I
What's
guess
like average size?
probably like we had a band of like 160.
Okay.
Usually it's like between like 100 to 200 usually. They had like 300 plus. It was nuts.
They got backups. They got enough to like.
They had
Yeah, second string.
12 sousaphones on the field at once
They got Whataphones.
in the same year that I was the one sousaphone in my band. It was
fuck
stupid.
is a
But in any event, the reason why I figured is because they only have Key West High School there. It's just the one high school. And then for all the keys, and so it's like, but that's been my only impression of the Keys. But then I guess it is like, because I always thought that it would be like kind of too small almost to be a tourist trap area. Like it would be too rural to like, but I guess like what exactly is what brings the tourists in besides like, obviously the beautiful beaches and all of that? What is the main draw of the Keys?
Well, off the top of my head, I know of two things.
What?
The two things that I remember specifically is southernmost point of Florida.
True Mile
Yeah.
Zero.
Yeah, Mile Zero.
Yeah.
And the other thing was the Wrigley's Believe It or Not Museum.
Really?
It's in the Keys?
Yeah.
I'm so surprised you didn't say Mallory Square.
Well,
Mallory Square
I
is
don't
where
remember
all
that
the street performers go. It's like right at the end of the little strip of all the shops and bars and everything down by the water. And
I was a kid
people
when I went, so I
spin
probably don't
fire,
remember that.
tightrope walk. They juggle knives and stuff. That's one of the things that actually got me into wanting to spin fire too. Was just, being born in Key West. My dad always talked about how much he loved it there and how cool the people in Mallory Square were. And like every single time we go there, we make it a point to go down there and try and see somebody performing. So
I think
it's
now
been a goal to me to go and perform there too, which is like,
I think if I went
insane.
now as an adult, I would be into that. But as a kid, I don't think I even knew that existed.
Well, honestly, it's just kind of like the carefree, really laid back lifestyle that really attracts people there, because that's like what you want on a vacation, So when you go there, you can go to, Rick's, which is like an upstairs bar that overlooks Duval Street, which is in the main strip of where everyone goes and parties all night. And you can go there and dance outside. Well, it's like kind of outside, it's covered, but it's super fun. It's just a really high energy, I don't know how to explain it. It's just like a really fun environment to go to. They also have other bars like Garden of Eden, which is like a nudist bar where you can go and you can, go once you go in, take your clothes off, go have fun, dance, do whatever. And then you can go back to your regular life right after on Monday.
A nudist bar. That seems like something that could only exist in a very particular culture.
Exactly.
For real.
They even have a whole they have a little gay strip where their walkway is just a little rainbow, and then there's like drag queens standing outside the bars and stuff. It's just a different environment. Like imagine walking down the street naked with your body painted, and that's all you have on, and you're just drunk partying with your friends. That sounds amazing. It sounds like a great time, and it's things that like Dad got to do, and it's just kind of bucket list type stuff, and that's why I've always been so fascinated with his stories and things that he got to do there, and I know that he wants other people to get to experience that as well. So.
Understandable, for sure.
Yeah,
it's a similar situation that like what we've got going on with the scene here. Trying to make something happen. In the scene, or like
so much has happened recently.
Yeah, I know, which is great.
Done a lot.
It's great to see. Well, it's not just us. It's good to see. That there's a lot of people out there like really putting in the work to make shit happen around here, which has been very encouraging given how much of an uphill battle it seemed to be.
It's a little newer here, though. I think the Keys have always been.
Oh well, yeah, of course.
Been around and has had that reputation for a long time.
Yeah, the Keys has
really
been established for way longer than fucking St. Lucie has. St. Lucie just started picking up like after COVID.
Kind of, yeah.
And so like that's.
It's funny enough. My grandparents actually moved here to get away from all the people that were moving down to Florida, and then COVID happened, and then after that, everyone moved here, and they're like, "Oh my goodness, we got to move again."
That sucks.
Yeah,
that was yeah. Oof.
They were like, "It's too busy on the roads down in Palm Beach Gardens, so we're gonna move up here." Now it's really busy on the roads here, and I was like, "What the heck?"
Damn.
So,
unlucky.
Yeah. So that's a really funny point. Actually, I guess that's a good segue into kind of like fire performing.
Yeah, I was just about to ask about that.
I found around here was shout out to Go Spread the Flow. They just became an official business.
Big shout out.
And they just got their website up. You can go check it out at spreadtheflow.com. They actually do several jams a week, and a jam, what that includes is free classes for juggling, hooping, poi, staff, anything you can think of that's like, like circus related or like performance related. You can learn fire performing, which was the coolest aspect for me, because having somebody to actually learn and teach from and interact with and ask questions like when I need to, and instead of just watching a YouTube tutorial on something and pausing and going back and pausing and going back, which I
imagine would be difficult while you're trying to actually do it.
Exactly. Yes. So it's really fun to be like, hey, I don't quite get this. Like, what are you doing with your hand behind there? And like they go, oh, well, you just gotta do that instead. Oh, okay, I get it now. So it's been a really cool learning experience, as well as just the community that they provide. Feeling so welcome, so supported, and so like free to be me and to be free flowing around these people. It's the Flomies. They do flow jams at Island Root every other Wednesday in Stewart. They do it on Thursdays at Havakava in Stewart as well. Fridays they do it at Rooted Reef in Fort Pierce. I know Tuesdays they also do it at Tyed's Tea House, and I believe that's in Cocoa Beach. And they just have more plans coming. It's amazing to see.
What I've noticed with the whole like flow community is it's very like dedicated. It seems.
Oh yeah,
people who are into flow are really into flow.
It's addicting, man. Doing it is addicting, and I haven't hung around the Go Flow or the Go Spread the Flow people too much, but in the time that I have, all of them are super cool people, super open, super willing to teach. Just like she said, Pete was my flow sensei. Shout out Pete, Ty Jesus. Taught me all kinds of different stuff on the poi. It was huge fun. I would definitely, if I was around like closer by, I would definitely be there a lot more often. It's a lot of fun.
That's another cool thing they do is like, speaking of, Ty Jesus, he performs at the flow nights that we do every week, and they
Supposed to
support
come on the
local
podcast soon.
artists. Oh, that's awesome.
Assuming he ever got over that headache.
Yeah.
The legends has it to this day. He's still
He-
bedridden.
Still has it.
He came on one time, a long time ago, when I was still recording out of my garage,
Mhm.
and my garage was, to be fair, really hot. And I caught him in a lie because he said, "I have a headache really bad. Can we wrap this up soon?" And then we ended up like ending it early because
Oh no.
he had a headache, but it was really
It was
just like
hot. Yeah. Oh no.
I felt bad. But I caught him, like, we became friends like soon after that,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Hey yo, I know you captain."
Were you serious?
One thing the reason I brought that up with the like dedication thing is because like I've noticed in so many other groups that people are just like, not like people as a whole, just like flaky. Like people come and go.
Oh my god.
But I feel like everywhere I've ever gone to where flow is happening,
Mhm.
I see the same people so often.
Well,
Yeah.
and they've been doing it for a minute too. Like they've really been putting in the work to build that clientele, that strong, regular base.
Yeah, it's not easy to get to the level where I've seen these people are at. Like I picked up Poi maybe in 2014, and so about 10 years ago already, and I have seen
Why did you have to say that? 2015 was almost 10 years ago.
I know, I'm sorry. But despite having done it so long, I've seen other people just absolutely dominate in progress when it comes to like they pick up a new prop and within a month or two they can do moves that I still can't do or yet, JT always tells us not to say that we can't do something as we just don't know how to do it yet,
Mhm.
Yeah.
which is always
Real.
a really great mindset to have and be reminded to have as
True.
well. But it's just amazing to see because like the hard work pays off and a lot of these people perform and do it as a job. And
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons that I've been so motivated and dedicated to do it, as well as the fact that, like he said, it's kind of addicting. I hurt my hand about 2 weeks ago and I haven't been able to spin any fire and I really miss it. I can't wait to spin fire again.
Did you hurt it in relation to Spitfire or
no,
Oh, okay.
longboarding. Yeah.
Another thing that's addicting. I've heard people get really into that.
Yeah, I definitely miss that as an outlet, but I just find that I can't bounce back as quick as I used to be able to. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd rather spin fire because even with like some hesitation with like not wanting to get burned sometimes, I've had it where it hits my arm and I'm like, oh, I'm fine. Didn't even hurt.
Speaking of JT, like I've only seen him. I've never had like a one-on-one with him. Like, I've never talked to him, but I've seen him at every time at any float thing. He has such like an uplifting, like makes you want to just makes you feel
Just
good
vibe.
personality.
Yeah.
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 He's got that anime protagonist aura.
Yeah.
Just makes you
Power
want.
of friendship.
Yes.
He's amazing. He definitely welcomes everyone in with open arms. He absolutely loves to see when people like make some, like you said, dedication to the flow. And like that's really his from what I've gathered talking to him, that's like his mission. It's just like spreading happiness through that and being able to like
Everyone
give people
shall
an
flow.
outlet. Yes, everyone shall flow. Like just the happiness, the community, the feeling of it, the feeling of like harnessing fire. Like one of the coolest things in my opinion was just feeling like an actual avatar.
I was literally just about to say, how many people do you think Avatar Last Airbender got into fire spinning?
Oh, so many of I swear, like a lot of the people that I meet, like they obviously know that show,
Yeah.
Like I was at Ginny Springs with some of the flomies and we had like body paint.
Flomies?
Yeah. So instead
The
of
flow homies?
yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
The flomies.
Flomies. We were at Ginny Springs and there was this guy, he had a bald head, so we drew the little arrow on it. Like, oh,
Nice.
I love this. So it was just, I don't know, it's one of the cute things that, from a childhood you get to kind of like be the adults you always looked up to as well, which is like really cool. And it's family friendly, which is one of the coolest things about it. It's an alcohol and drug free event. So it's a lot of recovery, a lot of healing, a lot of, if you need somebody to talk to, we're all there for you. If you don't want to talk, you just want to spin it out, come spin it out, if you just want to
Spin
come
it
have
out, brother.
fun, that's the best one. Have fun, come and learn something new. I think the coolest part of it is just being able to like apply flow to daily situations as well. It's like kind of just learning, like it says, to go with the flow. And when things change, just kind of just deal with it and see which direction it takes you. It's kind of like when I'm spinning with something and I accidentally do something I wasn't planning on them, but I'm like, oh, I kind of like that.
But you can still work with it. Yeah.
Still work with it. Yeah. Just go on to the next thing. Just move on. So that's, there's some really cool takeaways from it, as well as like, I can also go and perform, which is, a lucrative aspect of it, which is nice as well. It's kind of hard to get your like foot in the door with that though. I've done it with just some people locally for some birthday parties and such like that.
Because of a skill level type of thing.
Well, it's also you need insurance.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah.
So
that makes sense.
You need insurance and you need to have like a fire safety license.
I've seen some accidents.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense actually.
Yeah. I remember at back when the distillery was still a thing, there was a fire spitting thing going on. I don't know who it was that did it, but so I don't want to accidentally talk bad about anyone because I don't know who it was. But yeah, it didn't go so well. Nobody was hurt or anything, but stuff like the stuff that was on fire like didn't go out when they were trying to put it out.
Oh no!
Like when they
the fuel.
Yeah, it just kept going, and they put a blanket or a towel or whatever on it, and they kept having to like beat it because it just kept burning.
Why were they beating it?
Well, because they were like done, like we were switching people, I think.
Yeah, but
and then they were putting it down to switch to a different thing, so they were putting it out.
But if you beat it, you add oxygen to the flame.
That's what they were doing.
That's crazy. You're supposed to suffocate the flames,
and
so the oxygen is deprived of it, and
this is why you get your fire safety license. Yeah.
I don't actually have mine yet, but it's in the works right now. So that's one of the, this current month's goals.
Cool.
Attaining that license, as well as the insurance that comes with being able to perform in public places for, like you said, safety reasons. Actually, like, just going back to like Mallory Square, for a while, my grandpa was telling me that somebody was spinning fire and they caught a pedestrian on fire. And they had to push them into the water. So it kind of like put a pause on things.
Yeah.
And he was telling me like, oh, it's probably not an actual thing you can do now anymore. And I was like, well, they'll probably bring it back. They'll just wait and add more rules,
Yeah.
So, and that's exactly what they did. Because there have been a few incidences, but now you have to have like a perimeter around you. And if somebody comes in, you set your prop down, you tell them, sir, you need a backup. I can't perform any like with you. So there's certain safety procedures. Like a big thing that they teach at Go Spread the Flow is AVP, and it's not Alien versus Predator. It's audience, venue, performer. So if something happens, your first concern is the audience. You make sure everyone that's watching is okay. If somebody's on fire, you put them out. You worry about them first. And then you worry about the venue. You worry about if the place is on fire. You go and put that out. And then you worry about the performer, because you're assuming that somebody who's spinning fire knows the risk and probably knows how to put themselves out.
I remember at the distillery one, I vaguely remember there was a perimeter, but people were really close, and it kind of worried me a little bit. It was very close to the entrance.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
And
then
inside?
No, outside.
Okay.
But it was very close to the entrance, and people had to like kind of walk around precariously to get in and out. And then also, I don't think the performer was hurt, but I vaguely remember them like hitting themselves with the thing on fire as they were spinning. Like it was the whole thing was a little bit of a mess.
Well, typically if you hit yourself, it doesn't really honestly hurt that much. I know people that they'll spin it up and catch it with their hand to toss it back the other way.
Well, I can see that because it's like, number one, you know what you're doing, and unless it's prolonged, it's probably not going to burn you that bad. And whatever.
That and the material of what you're wearing.
Yeah, and that.
Mhm.
I was going to say the thing I'd be worried about is, depending on what you're wearing, it actually just catching, or your hair, or whatever.
Yeah, well, there's different procedures you can do for that too. You can wet your hair down if you want it like free flowing, or you can braid it and put it back. Usually people do that. And if you're wearing like, you know, spandex or stretchy clothes, those can melt to your skin. And that's where like, yeah, that's where my biggest fear is usually. But, you know, you can do things like have your outfits that are made for performing made out of like 100% cotton, so that way if you hit yourself it goes out really quickly and nice and easily. And you know, that just avoids a lot of issues like you were saying with that specific performance, because like people at, you know, festivals and stuff I'm sure mess up too, but there's just kind of more knowledge that goes behind like protecting yourself from that. That person sounds kind of like a novice almost, which
Yeah,
you gotta start somewhere, you know.
guess there's somewhere.
Yeah, right.
Indeed.
What other like big things are like going on in the Key West right now, or the Keys? What are like the big, like, I want to say attractions, but not necessarily attractions, but just big events, big like draws?
Well,
Because one thing I know just from my my family, my grandparents used to be associated with Christian motorcycle groups, and so biker events that were big in the Keys.
oh yeah, I don't know much about the biker events. I mostly know about like music things that are going on. I do know like the Phil Collins experience just happened on January 31st, and that was really cool. There's a new amphitheater down there that's past Mallory Squares. You have to take a little ferry to get to it, and that's called the Coffee Butler Amphitheater, and that just has like the most perfect view unblocked of the sunset, and it's just
Nice.
has a bunch of stuff, you know, people playing there. There's different like other things, like they have theaters down there, so they have plays go on, so you can, you know, go see Singing in the Rain on the waterfront, which is like really cool, like stuff like that. There's a conch blowing contest. There's typically
Conch.
Yes, that is their
CONK.
CONCH.
Oh,
Yeah.
CONCH.
I think.
I think you're right.
It is, yeah.
It's
Oh,
not K.
CONCH. Yeah. So they're actually called the Conch Republic down there, and you know, if you're from there or you're born there, you're considered a conch.
That's cool.
Yeah. So that's one of the cool things.
I can see a lot of jokes being made there, but
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. Why not? You know, it's perfectly set up. There's a lot of, you know, like art shows as well.
Oh, actually, that reminds me. Does the name Ashcraft ring a bell to you? I forget his first name, but my grandma, my uncle, my family is really good friends with this guy. And I think his name is David Ashcraft. But he is a chainsaw driftwood carver.
ooh,
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
he makes these like giant like wooden sculptures out of like driftwood and other wood that is sent to him, and he just like carves it with chainsaws, and that's how he makes a living down there in the Keys.
that's cool.
Yeah, right. That's what I would. That's like what I would expect old Keys kind of thing to be. Just
Yeah.
people like that living in like shacks that are somehow hurricane proof. You know, they just kind of despawn during hurricane season and reappear like when things are safe. I don't understand how that works, but
I feel like a lot of the kind of bars and places down there kind of do already look like shacks that are somehow hurricane proof.
that's,
Yeah.
yes.
Like Hogspress Saloon, oh my goodness, you look like you're walking into a warehouse or shed or something. It's
One of the
really
times
cool.
that I went to the Keys, it was like a little vacation, and we stayed at like this. We had a trailer home thing, and we stayed at like a trailer park thing, like HOA or type of setup, right? And they had this one like central like bar thing that was on site, and it was very shack-esque. And there was a really bad storm one night while we were there, and I was like, "This thing is gonna be gone." Like the next day, show up, go to hang out the next day. Nope, it was there. It was perfectly fine.
That's wild.
It was literally an outdoor bar. Like there was like cover, but it was like everything is exposed to elements pretty much.
Do you know what it was called?
No, I don't.
That kind of sounds like Schooner Wharf. That's why I was asking.
I was like
young.
like 10 or something.
Well, there's other cool things to do there. There's like the aquarium where they have that has been there since 1935. So it's just kind of like one of the, older buildings, kind of like the old Key West, like I was saying, that we're trying to preserve. They also have a butterfly and nature conservatory. I hate that word. Okay.
Not in the Keys, but I've been to one of those. It freaked me out having all the butterflies flying around my head.
So
stuff.
There is a butterfly rescue nearby here. I remember because we went there. I went there like several times for field trips in elementary school. I forget. Yeah, never mind. I don't remember what it's called, but it's probably the same one you're talking about. The
You're
butterfly
probably
garden
talking
or
about
something.
Butterfly World.
Maybe I
That's-
don't even remember. I just have a vague memory of it. Like
It wasn't in the Keys. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
It was somewhere closer to here.
I
But-
think this one probably was here too because it was. I think my grandma was with me.
Well, they the Keys also offers like things like museums. They have the Museum of Art and History. And they have just kind of preserved pieces of history, like the Hemingway home. You can go and see
Really?
where Hemingway lived.
That's really cool.
You can do walkthroughs through it, and that I've done that. That one's a really cool one. That's just if you're kind of like a history nerd or an art nerd, either way, you would enjoy that one. They also have like the Mel Fisher Maritime Museum. It's like history and archaeology. So if you're more into like the science part of it, you can go and look at that. You can go into like the lighthouse. Like, I always love lighthouse tours, having to climb up the spiral staircases and get to see over everything.
Yeah.
They also have all the air bases, like Navy Air Base down there. They do shows.
Air shows?
Yeah, the Blue Angels fly.
Those scare me. Oh my god, air shows scare me because like they're cool. I know that they know what they're doing,
Mhm.
but when they go wrong, they go very wrong.
Oh well, I mean, I don't know. The Blue Angels are like some of the top
Oh, I know they're top.
tier
Yeah.
flyers. So I feel that, but I'm more scared of like the Stewart Air Show than I am of the
Oh, yeah.
Blue Angels flying.
I just mean air shows in general
Yeah.
scare me. 'cause-
Probably because of Stewart Air Show.
probably because I don't know if it's Stewart specifically, but I've seen just videos on. You can see all kinds of videos online of
Right.
air shows of stuff crashing, and oh my god, it's horrific. when it goes wrong, it goes very wrong.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
And like you said, they have, the southernmost point. They also have the Truman's Little White House, which you can go. It's where the Trumans used to go and stay in the Key West when they were in the presidency office.
Okay.
So
Truman's. Got you.
yeah, Truman's. And that's cool. You can just do a tour like every like 30 minutes, like $20 or something. There's just a lot of history. And then, like you said, the beaches as well.
Mhm.
The water,
Is surfing big there?
the waves aren't really too big there. So I would say more paddleboarding
Okay.
and snorkeling.
Okay.
You can go on inland fishing, going on fishing charters. I went on a snorkeling trip with my family down there, and they took us on a boat about like a mile offshore, and we got to go to a coral reef and
That's
go
cool.
swim around it. I remember seeing my cousin get back on the boat, and I was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I saw a shark, man. I'm not doing this anymore." I was like, "Get back in here. It's not bothering you. It swam away, right?" And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay, come back here."
You just unlocked a memory
I
because
would
I
have been on
remember
the same tip. I'm not gonna lie.
honestly, yeah.
I would have been like, "Fuck you! I'm not
I don't
touching
like-
this
He
water."
got back in, and he's like, "I just needed like 5 minutes to calm down."
I
be me.
generally have a bit of a fear of the ocean because of what's the crazy stuff that's in there.
Really?
Crazy and or like look, surf like all of it is very awesome and majestic. And I love that it exists.
I have so
but
much respect for it.
I have a lot of respect.
Yeah.
But I don't belong there. That's not my turf. You know what I mean? A lot of it's
I
is
feel differently.
but You just unlocked a memory for me because I remember when I went to the Keys, I also went snorkeling. It wasn't like a paid trip or anything like that. It was just me and the family, like
At the beach.
At the beach or
Yeah.
something, a cool spot,
Mhm.
and that was cool. I don't like going too far out of the water.
Well, it was cool because despite being so far out, once we got to the coral reef, it was all like really higher up.
Mm.
So like it was deep all around us, but where we were swimming, it had rocks and coral like all right beneath us, and you could see it from the top of the water. So like, you know, being able to see the bottom kind of helps.
Yeah,
Like that aspect was there. So it kind of got me past the fear of like just jumping in the middle of the ocean. But I used to free dive off boats in the middle of the summer and down in West Palm Beach. So it's not.
I'm
really scary
I'm
to
not
me.
going out there without a boat. to be
I'm not
honest.
going out there without other people. My
That
thing is
too,
like safety in numbers.
Yeah,
If one fish is huge and it comes and sees 20 people, it's probably not going to bother us. If it
Mm.
comes and sees just me, it might mistake me for a big fish. I don't know. So I don't know. Safety numbers. Fish do it. Schools.
Yeah,
True.
Why
Yeah.
not?
true.
True.
But then also a bunch of them get eaten all at once.
Also true.
Yeah, but I feel like I don't know. I feel like
Not the same with surfers. for
yeah,
sure. No.
yeah. Cause like there's like maybe 7 shark attacks a year tops, maybe, and then
I'm not
those are
trying to be
just
one of them.
blown out.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I've seen I have like a fascination with also like swimming with sharks.
Mm.
I've seen a lot of divers do that, and that's one of the things I've always wanted to do as well. It's just
I'd swim with like lemon sharks or something.
You know, I would
You know, or
in
I've
that
done that
when
just
you're
in the wild.
when you're doing the swimming with sharks thing, like you know how you always see on like video when they do like a big cage thing that you're in.
Oh, I wouldn't
What?
want to do the cages.
I would never do that, and I would be more afraid of the diving equipment malfunctioning than anything else.
yeah.
I'd be
that's
more
true.
afraid of that because
That's why I won't go in like cave systems. Like people
I would
with
never do
Phoenix
that either.
Springs go
Oh.
in the caves and then they come back out on the other
I've been
side.
seeing so
and
much
it
of this stuff
makes
lately.
me sweat just thinking about it.
I've been seeing so much of stuff about specifically spelunking and
Mhm.
cave diving and stuff like that recently for some reason. There was a story recently of a guy in a dry cave, not a wet, not like an underwater one,
Mhm.
where he got stuck like this, like upside down in the cave. He got stuck and died. He got stuck because him and I might get the story a little fuzzy, but I think him and his brother were exploring this cave, and it was a well-known cave, and there was a specific like access point, like branching off from the main path or whatever, and he mistook this other one for the known one, and he tries to go in. He kept going further and further and further, and then basically the cave goes like this and then just down, and then he goes down and he gets stuck head first with his feet like unable to grab on, like he had no traction, and his arms like he couldn't grab at anything to get out. He was just stuck and he died.
Oh, I'm claustrophobic. So
What?
that
Me
is,
too.
Like, one of my
That's the-
biggest fears. Oh my god.
Well, I'm claustrophobic when it comes to
like not being able to get out.
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
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 No.
Like
Yeah.
life or death.
Yeah, no. Actually, one of my biggest fears growing up for some reason was always the fear of getting stuck in like a sewer drain thing. Like you're on the side of the road,
Really?
how it's not graded. It's just just a slot.
Yeah.
For some reason I was always afraid of like getting stuck in one of those.
My fear with those was it coming out, and just grabbing me.
The classic.
I'm worried about gators.
Screw that. Really?
There's gators in there sometimes.
I grew up going canoeing on Lockatahatchee River with my
I've been
dad.
canoeing,
And
kayaking.
we've swam in that water. I've literally, this lady, we took her with us one time, and it was right after Halloween. I remember I was like 6 years old or something, and she sees a gator and she stands up in our canoe. First thing, you're not supposed to do that. It tips us over, and my dad's so mad that she's like, putting me in danger, and there's a gator there. So he comes and grabs me, then he grabs the boat, and then he went back for her.
Yeah, I would
So
I
funny.
would have left her at that point. Are you
Yeah,
kidding me?
He almost did, but
See,
he's
like,
not like
You're for the
that.
stream.
I've
She was freaking out.
for the streams.
Yeah.
But the
I,
gator literally looked at us, saw my candy floating in the water, and just went after the candy. Just left us alone.
I mean, I've spent a lot of time in lakes
Smart.
and
Smart gator.
streams and rivers and stuff too. Because as a kid, I went to from about age 5 to like 16 or 17. I went to a summer camp every single summer,
Mhm.
and they had a big lake, and there were, I would say, they had like a section that was a part of it that was sectioned off for swimming, and then the rest of it was kind of just whatever. You could there was like a winding river that led from the main lake to another little smaller part, and people would canoe and kayak and stuff through there, and like, oh, that's cool. But the main like open body part of it definitely had to have had gators in it. And
Well, yeah, we're in the Everglades.
Yes.
I wouldn't doubt it.
but like, I didn't feel dangerous when you're in the swimming section because you're around a bunch of other people.
Well, yeah, safety numbers.
Right, safety numbers. But I would never go in the main part by myself or for any reason. I just wouldn't. No. I
Yeah,
just,
even with people, like
even with a couple people, I don't think I could do
you're
it.
just playing Russian roulette at that point.
Yeah.
I feel like as a kid, I would have done it. But now, as an adult, I've developed more of a fear of like not knowing what's beneath the surface. So I'm just like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm okay.
Yeah, that's the biggest one for me personally. It's just like any body of water where I cannot see what's on the ground beneath me, like where my feet are touching. If my feet can't touch the ground and I can't see the bottom,
Yeah, that freaks me out. Just the
panic.
endless.
In that
void
case, I need a
beneath me.
board.
yeah,
I need a surfboard, boogie board, whatever. I just
I
need
need
something
to.
to float on.
Just this
Fine.
idea of this void beneath me freaks me out.
Yeah,
and just
there's a
anything
name
could
for
come
that.
up.
I just
And
not sure what it is.
Thalassophobia.
Is that what it is?
Mhm.
Philosophophobia? Oh,
Thalassophobia.
thalassophobia.
Mhm.
Okay.
That's a fun one. It's crazy to me that we've discovered more of our space than we have of our own ocean.
Yeah, because it's scary down there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
well,
it's also
the weight.
it's harder to go
Mhm.
deep than it is to go into
Up.
space.
Yeah, because like the further down you go, the more weight there is. So like we've
The
only
pressure.
been able to build certain, level of technology that can go under that much pressure.
Again,
and
that's
not
why I'm
break.
afraid of the scuba diving equipment.
That's why I believe in
because
mermaids.
I mean, I
You can't tell me there's not down there because how do
I
you
could
know?
believe a lot of shit being down there.
How do you know?
But scuba diving equipment, like, I know that obviously it's made for that. So of course it's going to be, there's a lot of redundancies sometimes, and the equipment's going to be very durable, but still things can go wrong.
Oh yeah.
And when they go wrong in that scenario, they can go catastrophically wrong. And that frightens me.
And that's
I'm
one of
okay
the
with
reasons-
things that go a little bit wrong. But when things go very wrong, that's like,
Well, with scubaing, it's like if things go a little wrong, everything goes very wrong.
right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I've actually had a friend who, after high school, one of the first jobs he got was a scuba diving instructor. And he was talking to me about how he's lost a person during his classes before.
Mm.
And that's one of the reasons he stopped doing it. And I looked at him and I was like, you didn't like get in trouble for that? He's like, no, it was
They probably sign
just
waivers
straight
and
up.
stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You sign a waiver, straight up your responsibility to get back to the boat in time and not, if you go.
So lost
too
somebody
far
as
and
in
get
they
caught in the
swam and they
current.
just got left.
Well, no. So what happened was the guy, his equipment malfunctioned and he
What am I
inhaled
saying?
water and he drowned and he got caught in a current to the
Mm.
point where nobody could get to him before the drowning like actually happened. So it was like a
Man.
time thing, which is like, in movies, they always get to you right after you're like, and you swallow water and then they get you and they do CPR and you're fine. But it's not a movie. So this
Yeah.
guy didn't make it. And I thought that was one of the craziest things that like, it's almost like, like being like a rock wall climber instructor, like things like that. Like those people, you wouldn't expect, like it sounds so fun, but then they're
I might just-
so dangerous.
I
at
might
the
just
same
be
time.
pussy. I'm okay with being pussy. But I'm not doing those extreme stuff. Tightrope walking, rock climbing, zip lining.
Zip lining is so fun though.
What else?
I've gone
skydiving.
to one that guy. I'm
not doing none of that shit. I'm not
the
doing none of it.
parachute not opening is one of my biggest.
Yeah,
my aunt
hell
has skydived like I don't know, like 5 or 6 times, and you have to go. I think it's like 5 times before you can go by yourself. Like you have to go with somebody. You're not allowed
That
to
makes
go
sense.
by yourself the first times. Which I think unless it's in like
I don't trust myself or the motherfucker
Military.
attached to me. I don't trust either.
no.
No.
Yeah, I don't trust people, so
Yeah.
I don't know if I would.
I don't
trust
even
him.
trust
He
the
could just be
plane.
feeling really sad that day and just.
He's just another piece of equipment.
Sorry,
that could
bud,
just
you're
as
coming
be,
with me.
just as likely, if not more likely, to malfunction, given that he is a human.
Yeah.
I barely trust the plane to get us up there. Like, I have a fear of flying because, like, I just don't. And again, Again, it's another thing of when it goes wrong, it goes very wrong.
Well, my thing is my grandpa was a pilot. So, from a young age, whenever we'd get on a plane, he'd be like, takeoff and landing is the most dangerous part. Once you're in the air, you're fine usually. And that like gave me some comfort, but like I hold on during takeoff and landing now because he made it prominent in my mind that that's the most dangerous time of flying.
That's what
I would love to go and learn how to fly. That would, it used to be you needed like 50 hours to be able to get your license, and now you only need 35 to 40, and depending on if the instructor thinks you're ready. And I'm not sure if that's better or not. But,
I was just about to say, like, I don't know if that's a good thing. I don't know if
that kind of worries me, but at the same time, it is very expensive to go through.
He watched me land it. He's all right.
It's the whole panel and everything you have to know extensively.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it's like so cool.
What I definitely will say is I would much rather get on a plane than a helicopter. Because planes,
Really?
Yes, because planes, I know that if something goes wrong, you can still glide.
Yeah.
Helicopters, they just fall like a rock.
Oh, yeah.
If something goes wrong, it just falls.
Like what you're saying, where takeoff and landing is the most, with the helicopter, the most dangerous part is
the whole thing.
When you turn it on until when you turn it off. You are in perpetual danger at all times, unless you are like constantly on top of it.
What about like space travel? They've have these things like SpaceX has you can pay for a ticket on a rocket to go to space, but now they have another like kind of concept that they're doing. It's like a huge metal hot air balloon, and it just slowly rises for 2 hours. You stay up in space right outside the atmosphere for 2 hours, and then you come right back down.
It's like a large version of the Felix Baumgartner thing, the balloon to get up there.
That's what it made me think of.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
Just a large scale version of that.
Yeah, basically, it looks like a huge hot air balloon to me, but just metal. What if some
lunatic just like shoots it, puts a hole in it?
It's metal. It's not like
you can put a hole in metal.
Well, yeah, but why would you? There's probably so much security.
Florida man
shoots
air balloon. Kills 95 people.
I can definitely see that happening.
It's also like instead of however many $100,000s of dollars or $500,000 that it is for the SpaceX one, it's like in comparison, it's a lot cheaper, which I think is cool because
I'm not trying to hate on it entirely. I'm just saying I've got a lot of concerns.
Yeah, no, I've got so much. It's like when they put out a new medicine or something, and then 15 years later they're like, if you took this, like
your loved one suffered from mesothelioma.
Literally, that's what I was thinking of.
That's so from funny. Asbestos, right?
I think so.
I know.
That's not a medicine.
Probably.
But I just think that I don't know. I think that it'll be more accessible soon, and that's one of the cool things. The reason I talk about it,
I could see that making sense because like if you had like, I'm thinking maybe 100 years in the future or something. We got like more than one space station up there. So like you take those balloons, it just gets you to a docking point. Then you get onto a station or something. That'd be cool.
That'd be really cool.
Kind of functions like an elevator almost.
Yeah.
And it just, I don't know, especially because the government admitted about aliens existing. So I would be like, I want to go in hopes that,
They declassified a lot of that information.
Yeah.
What did they say specifically? Did they actually say, aliens are real, or do they say
what it boiled down to effectively was they had footage of UFOs that they could not confirm what it was.
Okay. Because I'll say this, I want there to be aliens.
As far as I'm in,
but that doesn't mean that there's aliens.
I did also see something where they admitted about obtaining alien life, so that they have it. Like
that was that guy. What's his name? Something Grush.
I'm not sure his name.
That was that one guy. He came out saying, we obtained a life form in a craft and all this stuff, and then he like testified and all this.
Yeah.
And the unfortunate thing was that he couldn't, because of his position, he couldn't say a lot of it publicly.
Yeah, it was kind of like an ambiguous.
Yeah.
Yes.
You talking about Bob Lazar?
No, that's different. That's also kind of a sketchy story, but do you know Bob Lazar?
Mm-mm.
Oh, fill her in.
Yeah, he was a scientist who allegedly, I believe, he worked at Area 51, right? Yeah, and
According to his story, yes.
yes, according to the story, he worked at Area 51 on a top secret project where he was tasked with studying and developing some kind of understanding of a UFO that they brought in
They were using
for
it.
research purposes.
They were trying to like reverse engineer like propulsion technology, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. And that's basically, and then there's a bunch of other, intrigue and detail beyond that, but that's the gist of it.
But what the controversy with his story is that there's record, I think records were scrubbed of him ever working where he says he worked.
Mhm.
However, there were other people who claimed that he did work there, but then a lot of other people who claimed that he didn't. So like, it kind of depends who you ask
Yeah.
on how legitimate the story is. So who really knows?
Well, I think
don't know.
it's fair to probably assume that, for something like that.
there are going to be a lot of people trying to cover it up.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
what is? I don't see any records of this top secret project that
Sorry.
nobody probably wanted any records kept about.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said that they had like a stable isotope of element 115, which immediately had my like Call of Duty Zombies brain like tingling.
Yep.
But apparently element 115 like doesn't really exist in nature. You have to synthesize it and it's really unstable. But somehow or another, they were able to figure out how to do it, and it was able to manipulate. They were using it to manipulate gravity and able to have like really advanced propulsion. And that explains like how UFOs can move around in crazy ways that we don't understand.
Yeah, that's actually really cool. I've seen that video where it's like you can see them not necessarily going straight; they're going like diagonal and like up.
The Tic Tac.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
little Tic Tacs. Yeah. The reason I bring up like aliens in space and stuff is because like my uncle also has another website and it's
Ooh.
called alienlife.net.
Ooh, hell yeah.
And it's a really cool, just kind of fun website where you can go and read articles on like the newer things that they come out with about aliens and alien life and their theories and what people are talking about. So if that's something that interests anybody,
That's definitely on my bookmarks.
What's the site again?
alienlife.net. And we also have merch on there. The merch
Hey.
is really cool, actually. They designed their own pictures and everything. So I don't know if we can show them real quick.
I can put it on screen also. Oh, that's nice.
Some
Is
cool.
that like a painting? What was that?
Yeah, so that's just a canvas print. And then there's some mugs. And we also have some t-shirts as well, which is really fun. Just our little Alien Life logos on there. So it's just a really cute, fun website to go and just talk about fun stuff with your friends.
Yeah.
Whatever, or be up to date. And be able
See,
to
with-
say,
with-
I know more than you.
My whole approach when it comes to aliens and paranormal things or the occult or anything that's abnormal or like supernatural is like I kind of want it to exist, but I remain skeptical
Oh, me too.
about pretty much all of it.
I'm more hopeful than anything.
I'm like agnostic. Like
Also
I kind
a
of
little
like
scared.
a little scared.
Yeah.
What scared? Which part scares you?
Well, there's so many like lighters and little t-shirts that say like "Take me with you," and like it's just jokes.
Yeah, what if
about
we don't
being
wanna go?
abducted.
What if we don't
Actually,
wanna go?
getting abducted sounds scary as hell. I'm
What if
sorry.
we don't want to go
No.
where they want to take
Well,
us?
No.
I've heard, it could go either way. I've heard stories of dudes getting probed, but I've also heard stories of the aliens divulging the secrets of the universe, and so it's like it could kind of go either way.
That sounds like mushrooms.
Yeah,
Which-
yeah.
Some say are aliens.
Yeah, what if the aliens are
The
just fungus
clockwork
beings?
elves.
They have their own little network of how to communicate and
Yeah.
stuff, which is really cool to look into as well.
What if they're just
Oh, yeah,
fun guys?
You know what? I bet you they
Never
are.
thought of it that way. Whoa.
Whoa.
No wonder I enjoy taking them so much.
That's so funny.
Aliens are just a bunch of fun guys.
I would totally believe that though, because that is kind of like one of the weird things about fungus in general is that it exists on its completely own like strata of life compared to like plants and people.
Yeah.
Just doing its own thing.
I'm neither
Yeah.
plant nor animal. I'm a secret third thing.
Yeah, literally. Literally the secret third thing. It's a
I'm just
fungus.
mystery.
Yeah. That's really fascinating.
I've also seen have you seen when people put the wires on it, and it synthesizes the music through the mushrooms.
Yep.
With like oscilloscopes.
Well, yes, but also
that.
there are certain I don't know if there are standalone synths that do it yet, but I know there are a couple of different modules that you can plug into a modular thing that have alligator clips that you just clip to like leaves or mushrooms or any kind of plant
like the
life,
cap or the little skirt,
and it'll read and amplify the electrical impulses that it gets from the plant, and then send it through as an impulse through whatever module.
Right? Haven't you worked this into a set yet?
Because that money.
Understandable.
I've actually seen somebody.
They're also very rare.
Makes music and he took a lot of mushrooms, and he woke up the next day and he's like, look at what I made. And it sounded exactly like the synthesization of the sound of mushrooms, but it was through him. And it just made me wonder, like, how powerful are they?
We are but a vessel.
We are but a vessel. Exactly. Like, I don't know. That was one of the cooler things that I've seen about that. But speaking of like fun, interesting things, tarot reading is another thing that I've been.
Come a little closer to the mic.
Tarot reading is another thing that I've been doing recently, especially more so with a bigger crowd of people, kind of like at parties and stuff. And tarot reading's always been a very interesting aspect just to kind of have in life, because people are always interested in it. People always have questions. They are always like, how accurate are you? Like, is it real? And despite all the skepticism, after having a reading, they're always, they walk away with so much more clarification or answers that they might not have had before, which is really cool. And it's kind of like,
Can you explain
magic.
both for me and for the audience, like, what is tarot reading? Like, what is it? How does it work? What is it supposed to do for you? Like, just elaborate. Open the box for us.
Well, tarot can have, different aspects. For me, what got me into it was kind of like the surprise of how accurate sometimes the readings would be and how deep they would resonate with the situation that I was at in current life. So like, if you have a question, say about what you should do in your career, what you should do with your family members that you're struggling with recently, even just with yourself, like if you want some guidance day to day on like how to better yourself or like what you should focus on that day, you can use daily tarot drawings, or you can do them like saying before, like with sessions where you go and you ask a specific question to get help. I find that it's a lot of just guidance, basically advice from a higher power or a guide, or if you believe in, say, gods and goddesses or like deities. A lot of people practice kind of a dedication to a certain deity to kind of get some clarification through cards. So it's more like getting messages to help with the things that you ask about.
That was kind of one of my big questions about it, is what is it about tarot that gives it validity in people's minds of like what's behind it, backing it up? Because like, for example, a lot of people will do the same type of thing. You're talking about guidance with reading scripture, name a religion, any religion, reading scripture for them, they'll find guidance and whatever from that. And the reason that they believe it is because they believe in that God. They believe it's the word of God, whatever. It could be the Bible. It could be whatever, Quran, Torah, whatever you want to name. So they believe in that. But for tarot, what is like behind, what's backing it? That's like the reason people believe in it.
Well, magic. The unseen force that backs everything in nature. The energy that makes sure, instincts are a thing, or like cycles are a thing, that just that unseen, like there's a force in our energy fields and the Earth's energy fields and everything around us, that, you know, how energy is neither created nor destroyed. So therefore, you know, it's either just transformed. So what you're doing is you're basically setting an intention to sorry, I'm kind of losing track.
I kind of understand the direction you're going.
It kind of, from what I understand, because I did tarot for a little bit, I studied it for a little bit because I was really curious about it, about the exact same question you had, which was like, why do people put so much credence into this? Or in these instances that I've had my readings, why do they seem so accurate? Like, what is the science and thing behind that? The conclusion that I've come to, which may or may not be correct, because I'm not a fucking, I don't know, is that what it seems to be most likely the case is that tarot acts, and like I was mentioning earlier, tarot kind of acts as a form of guided meditation in a lot of the same ways that, you know, traditional guided meditation or prayer does, where you are, you know, as opposed to something like prayer where you are focusing your mind in on a specific thing and then your brain focused on that thing subconsciously comes to conclusions that it wouldn't have otherwise. Tarot kind of does that in sequence, and it gives you a more fleshed out, like generalized view of different things that could be happening in your life. And then your brain, your subconscious kind of fills in the gaps and then comes to new conclusions that it wouldn't have otherwise without that focus and without that guidance, usually from the tarot reader, that lets them come to new conclusions. And therein lies kind of the magic. Okay. You know, it's kind of, it's in part it's like, for the tarot reader to guide, you know, the person.
Shaman.
Yeah, effectively, yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like it's like just an alternate like circuit to plug your brain into the universe type of thing.
Effectively, like, it's like a logotherapy.
It's just like a tool, just kind of like a conduit, so that you can have something to have that energy speak to you through. Kind of like, have you seen pendulums? When they use a board and they ask a question and it starts to swing more towards yes or no?
Yeah.
That's kind of like the same concept, where it's just like the energy is guiding the cards and like which one pops out of the deck when you're shuffling them or not. I think part of it that's always intrigued me is kind of like the mystery of that question is like, where does this knowledge come from? Who is telling me this? How is it that I just know that when someone picks this card, when this person picks it, I say this, and when this person picks it, I say that? And a lot of the times I just do it subconsciously. Like, someone will pick a card and I'll say something, and then I'll kind of just like, I'll be disassociated almost when I say it. And a lot of the times it doesn't feel like me saying that. So that's why I say that it's just kind of like energy passing through me and the cards so that you can hear what you need to hear. So that's why I didn't really know how to answer that, because I don't really know. If I had all the answers, I don't know. I don't think it would be.
There's an element of faith to it.
Yeah. So, which is, like you said, with other religions as well, there is too, but it's, you know, for guidance as well. Like, you know, you have your amendments that you follow, you have your commandments that you follow, you know, the in Buddhism, the 10-step plan or whatever. So like, it's just kind of like guidelines also to follow, which could be more direct and specific when you have like a question and you pull that specific card out that day. Or
and you also brought up another thing that I was kind of in the back of my head thinking, but I didn't know how to ask really, was about how one person will pull the same card and read it differently than another person, but it's the same card. So like, what, you kind of answered the question already, but there's magic to it, but like, what in my head, I'm like, what gives it that meaning? What changes the meaning also? Like, I never like understood that.
So it could be a multitude of factors. It could be the question that you asked. It could be who you are as a person, if I know you or if you're a stranger, like that can help me, you know, say if it's my best friend and she's asking me a question, then I can pull out the tarot and say, you know, oh, you got the death card. You're here for transformation. Like it's like a new beginning or an ending. Something's coming that, something has to end for the new door to open and da da da. And that's kind of the generalization of like the card, but specifically with, a situation that she's asking about, because I know her more, I can tell her how it applies to her specific situation. So like if you tell me,
good.
If you tell me like you have an issue with your family or whatever, and like you're not getting along with your parents or something, and I pull a card like the Fool, I could, I would tell you, like maybe try and be more playful with them. Go and hang out. Don't always make it so serious. Don't always try to have these like tough conversations with them. Like have fun with it. But if someone's talking to me about businesses or like their financial aspect of their life and I pull the Fool, then I could tell them to, maybe do something that you like more rather than something that's more lucrative, because something that makes you feel better and you can be more free and be more yourself. It's just different ways that it applies to different situations.
Okay. So if I'm understanding correctly, the cards kind of have a surface level generic meaning, but then knowing the person makes or the situation helps you apply it more specifically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
That's also kind of like gut feeling, kind of how I was saying earlier with like the disassociation. Sometimes I will just straight up say like a sentence or two that I don't know if it's relatable to you at all. And most of the time people are like, how did you know that? So I'm like, I don't know, honestly.
Well, I know a lot of the power in that, like for tarot cards, come from the fact that a lot of the tarot cards, the major arcana in particular, are all based off of, archetypes they're all based on archetypes based on, certain aspects of human experience that are just like universal, life, death, new beginnings, etc., judgment, all these different things and their meanings. They're all kind of like little packages of related ideas, that your brain can then interface with and plug into and make relevance out of whatever is going on in your life. That it's like these little catalysts that kind of cause the new reactions in your head, to happen.
It's just like hearing a new perspective too.
Exactly.
Like going to somebody and talking to someone about a situation that you've been through and you're like, I don't understand it. And they go, well, I see it from this angle. You're like, oh wow,
and all of a sudden,
kind of sense now. Thank you so much. And you walk away with this new type of clarity on how to maybe approach the situation or go about dealing with it emotionally. This
seems very similar to like dream interpretation stuff too.
It is. It is. Also based on archetypes. It's the same thing. Well, it's not the same thing, like the same science, but it is based on the same principles.
What trips me up about it, I guess, is that the interpreter, the reader, the interpreter, and the subject, like they have to be really careful in a sense, because you could misinterpret something very easily and like apply whatever advice you got. You could apply it incorrectly, couldn't you? Like if I explain a situation to you and I'm asking for advice and you do a reading and maybe I do a bad job of explaining the situation and you give me advice that doesn't, I try to apply that advice, but because I explained the situation wrong, couldn't that affect the reading?
Well, I think that's also where, like I said, that gut feeling comes in, because and not always knowing exactly if it pertains to the situation or not. And I always tell people, take everything with a grain of salt. I tend to ask more questions once I do a reading and be like, does that apply? Do you resonate with this? How, can we talk further upon this situation? Because then I like to get like that miscommunication out of the way.
Okay.
So that way it's not, a misconstrued message. Like I did a reading recently. I was hired for a party and I did a reading for a girl in high school. And the question was about a guy that she had just met and if she should pursue a relationship with him. And I thought that was a cute question. I was like, okay, girl, come over here. Like, let's do your reading. And I pull a card and the first thing that comes out is the card the devil, and this boy's name is Damien.
Oh,
She starts freaking out. She's like grabs her friend. She's like, no fucking way. Come here. You'll never guess what card she just pulled out. And it's so cool because, you know, the other two cards that I pulled were more focused on her. And so at the end of it, I said, you know, you can pursue this, or even if you do pursue it and it fails, just know either way, you still have your friend right there. And it looks like you're going to have another friend there soon. So instead of a duo, it'll be a trio. And then at the end of it, the third card was about her being just kind of like a woman. And so it showed that, you know, in the end, whether she had this boy or not, she would be okay. And that was my main like summary at the end. It was like, you can pursue it. It looks like it's a good, you know, path to take. Might be fun, might learn a thing or two. But in the end, if it does not work out, it's not going to be the end of the world. You're still going to be okay. You're still going to be the best version you can be at the end of the day. At the end of, you know, your 20s or whatever, whether you have him or somebody else, you're going to be okay. And so that way, she didn't take it as, oh, I should go for this relationship. It's going to work out and I'm going to get married to this man. And da, 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 da. No, like I'm going to be pretty honest with you. Like I've had a lot of experiences in life too. So I tend to kind of add those lessons as well into my readings. Just like, you know, kind of guiding people to make better choices rather than, like you said, a wrong one because they misunderstood what I said. So.
Well, no, we're deep into the topic. Should we bust out those cards?
Yeah. By the way, my tarot reading name is Divine Card Alchemist. You can look me up on Google, find my phone number, and ask me to come and perform at any birthday parties, reunions, weddings, you know, an after party. It's a fun
Funerals?
thing to do. Funerals? Sure, man. I'll dress in all black. I'll come in a witch hat. It's cool.
What's like the weirdest event you've ever been to?
That I've read tarot at or that I've ever been to?
Or hired for tarot, yeah.
Hired for tarot.
Was there anything that you just got like weird vibes, like I don't feel like I should be here type of thing? Or like this is not appropriate for this situation or anything like that?
The main time I feel like that is when people kind of get pushed into doing a reading with me. Like I was at a birthday party and this girl kept trying to get her mom to do one and she's so skeptical. She's like, I don't want to do it, honey. Like, no, I'm good. And then her husband came over and got a reading and I didn't know it was her husband. And he goes, I have to go get my wife. And it was the same woman. And I was like, are you kidding me? And so she's like, you know, I'm being dragged into this, right? I was like, yeah, I saw you literally be dragged over here. Like,
So
it's okay. I'll make it quick for you.
Okay.
I did a little 3-card reading, which is past, present, and future. And I just kind of did like a glaze over and she was like, okay, thank you, and ran away. And so like those are the most awkward interactions when people are kind of like,
They don't really want to be
I don't
there.
want to do this.
And you know it's not going to, even if you do the reading, it's not going to resonate with them like at all in general.
She went, okay. And like took it, and I feel like she kind of actually resonated with it but didn't want to admit it. So
okay,
I don't know, because a lot of people do that where they come in, they're like, I just wanted to see if you were real or not. And it's like, well, why are you even here? Like, just have a little sense of wonder, you know?
So you said there's a simple reading is past, present, future. What are like different levels? Is there more?
There's
like way deeper readings?
There's different spreads. There's, like I said before, you can do a daily tarot pull where you just pull one card and that kind of helps you do a more like focused reading for specific questions or specific situations that you're dealing with, or even if you want to like have a theme for your day, kind of like a horoscope. When you read that for your day, you're like, oh, okay. There's also there's like you, your path, your potential. There's you, your relationship, and then the partner. There's situation, action, outcome. There's like a Celtic cross you can put it in. You can do a 10-card spread, which has so many different aspects. There's a lot of different kinds of ways to read them. When you do a reading also, there can be a shadow card, which is like after, you put down the 3, 10, however many cards you put down, you look on the bottom of the deck and you see that, and it kind of just either solidifies or, tells you, hey, you may have gotten something wrong or like missed something on the reading. So there's a lot of really cool ways to do readings. Like I was looking in here and it was saying a Celtic crossbred is the present, the influences on you now, your life, your foundation, your past influences, your future influences, your feelings, your environment, your hopes and fears, and the outcome. So it can get really extensive, or you can keep it nice and simple and sweet.
I gotten a few Celtic crosses done for me from Silas. When he was still floating around here, he used to do that a lot for people. You met Silas before, right? Yeah, he's good people. Shout out Silas if you're watching. But
he's got the cool wizard hat.
Yeah, exactly. You can't.
He is
When you're pulling up with the full, you're getting the full tarot spread from the dude who's on it, just wearing the hat. He's got the hat on.
Yeah,
all the time.
Like, legit, actually, all the time.
Literally.
It was incredible. It was funny until it wasn't, and then it was actually unironically cool.
Yeah. I feel like so many things are like that. Like you just do them ironically until it becomes just a thing.
Well, I feel like that's how most like lingo spreads nowadays.
Yeah.
Trendy stuff.
I keep bringing this up like every other day, but it's that cringe based cycle.
Yep, the cycle of based and cringe, all fueled by irony.
Yes.
Yep.
When something becomes so cringe that it's base,
and then too based and becomes cringe again.
Yeah.
Many such cases.
So, which one of you would like a reading first?
Volunteer Trey first.
I thought you were going to say a volunteer.
Yeah, right. All right.
Is there anything specific you want?
I don't want to force you into this. Are you okay with doing this first?
I guess.
Okay.
It's fine. I guess, I don't know. In particular? Well, this is going to be a 3-card spread, right? So it's past, present, future. Where my life's at, general.
Where your life's at.
A lot of things up in the air right now. A lot of new beginnings happening.
So these fell on my lap, so I'm not sure if they're inverted or not. So I'm just gonna read them normally. So far you have, for the past, you have the Sun, which is positivity. For the present, you have the 8 of Pentacles, which is skills. And then for the future, you have the 7 of Pentacles, which is a hard choice. So to me, what that seems like is, this past year or so, you've had a lot of positive changes. You've had a lot of growth and a lot of things that, built you up to your skills that you have currently. That positivity was, transmuted into the things that you do with your life, the things that you put effort into. So whether it be the music scene you're helping promote or this podcast, shout out Ghost on the Aux.
Yeah.
All the things that you're doing that kind of just transformed you into the skillful person that you are today, with all the knowledge that you have of how to set all this equipment up, of how to edit things, all of the things that you do, which is really cool and useful to have. However, I feel like because of all the avenues and things that you know how to do, choosing what to really dedicate yourself to and which things are more important than others is kind of the hardest choice that you have to make, especially as a young adult, because the things that you choose to pursue are how your life's going to go and the things that you're going to do in your future. And so I see, you might be faced with a choice between having to do the podcast or, a music event or work a job, do a 9 to 5 for a few weeks or something like that, or even it could be having to maybe move because of how we were saying, it's just getting so busy around here and locals being pushed out and stuff like that. So
yeah, and that's very that's pretty, so I can actually lend context to just about all of that, because this is another aspect of this that I didn't mention before, but not only like getting you to think about things differently, but also kind of reaffirming patterns in your own head that you may have been following, you know, because this is an example of, you know, obviously this past year, you know, between working at Havakava, you know, I gained a lot of friends, a lot of network, you know, and through a lot of shows, and through that I ended up, you know, really developing a relationship with Nicole, and that's how I ended up finding Shout Out the Narrator, and that's how in the OP Keepers and the One Piece of Me, etc. And that's how I ended up getting my current job, which is way better than my last job. Fuck you, Bank of America. And I can and I can actually, like, you know, it's a lot better all around. But it's given me a lot more time and a lot more money. But the issue is that I am now at this like really crazy crossroads where it's like, do I move now that I'm able to and it would be more convenient? Do I stay where I'm at and just stack my cash? And regardless of whichever path I take there, where am I going in the future? Where is this all headed? Because there, you know, musically, personally, there's all kinds of different, you know, avenues and ideas that I want to take, but nothing that's like solidified itself or shown me as like the thing that like calls to me most or is the most, you know, clear success, you know, thing to happen.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's a very appropriate spread, I must say.
I was thinking about it
Yay.
as you were going. I was like, oh, because we over the last year and a half or so, year and a half, we've worked or hung out pretty much everything we do together, or at least in parallel. Like we either doing something together, like open mic, or hanging out in similar groups or circles or whatever,
Mhm.
or just doing similar things, even if it's not together. So like I've seen a lot of that happening for him.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Is like anybody listening who's like been following, you know, well,
The journey.
actually, I kind of hope that nobody's been following my life. That'd be kind of weird. But any of the close
That's
homies,
kinda cool.
I guess any of the close homies who've been following,
Real ones.
will recognize, you know, the significance of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, the real ones know.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. Right on.
Yeah.
All right, and now we get to know about you.
About me.
Your turn.
Let's go. Let's do it.
Do you have any specific questions, or do you want a generalization?
I wish I had an interesting question, but I don't. Let's just go general.
Maybe about the podcast?
Yeah.
You could do one about the podcast for the podcast, and then get a personal one later or something.
You read it tarot reading for the podcast as if it's an entity.
Interesting. I don't
Yeah.
know if
I mean, it is kind of its own being.
It's a mundane reading, is what that would be.
Okay.
Like mundane astrology is astrology for like non-human entities or institutions.
Let's do that. Let's do that. Reading for the podcast itself.
What is your goal with the podcast?
Be rich and famous. No, I'm just kidding. No, I
Said no one ever.
No, no, I really my ultimate goal is it's kind of a combination of I have always just really enjoyed new media. And by new media, I mean like internet, kind of like breaking away from traditional broadcast where there's a lot of rules, media production.
Mhm.
I like production itself, like the technology behind it, the art of it. I
Yeah.
also like talking with people. I talk way too much. I just like conversing and getting to know interesting stuff about people, what they do. My ultimate, I guess, like long-term goal is I do want it to be a successful business that just funds itself so I can just keep doing it. Like I say rich and famous, it's kind of it's like a half truth, because like in order for something like this to succeed, it has to make money and be popular to a certain degree.
Mhm.
I don't really care about fame or being wealthy, but I want to have enough of a following and make enough money in what I do so that I can keep doing it. So, you know, I don't have goals of like being so wealthy I can go out and buy an island and private jet and be that guy flexing. I don't care about that. I'm not really like materialistic in that way,
Mhm.
but I want to make enough money and be successful enough to where I could just keep doing this
Yeah.
because I just enjoy it.
Yeah, this is your dream
Yeah.
job.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad to support you.
Thank you.
And so the cards I pulled for you are the Ace of Wands, which is in the past. And
Wait, this is for me or for the podcast?
oh, for the podcast.
Okay, I'm just
sorry.
clarifying. I want to make sure.
For the podcast.
Okay.
Sorry. Ace of Wands, which is new action. So that kind of represents you starting up this podcast and it getting going and getting its, on its feet, and how you've finally transformed from just audio to also having cameras and going on YouTube and trying to, broaden your audience. For present, I see the Three of Wands, which is growth. It's, a lot of the times the depictions on the cards help a lot too, which is cool because in this one you have a seedling in the middle of the 3 wands, and you kind of just can see it sprouting, which is, the growth of what you're putting into this podcast, the effort that's going into it, the dedication that's going into it, the, scheduling people to come on and adhering to that schedule and setting up all this equipment and taking the time and effort to do all that as well. And, the advertisement of it and just kind of getting people to know about this podcast, which is a really cool thing that you've been doing. And it's a cool thing in itself. So I hope people get to enjoy it with us.
Like and subscribe.
Yes. Hit those buttons. And then in the future, I see a Knight of Pentacles, which is perseverance. So I do see this podcast going further than just you hanging out with some friends and talking to, people actually being interested and asking questions and saying, hey, I want to see, this topic on the next episode, or, this person on the next episode, and, eventually get bigger stars on here maybe, and some cool names and some cool topics that you get to do and cover, and hopefully just the overall, like it's saying, growth and perseverance of the podcast itself.
These are all pretty positive, I would say.
So yeah, you got it started. It's growing steady, and you're gonna keep going.
Yeah,
nothing's stopping you. Like,
yeah,
won't say
starting is the hardest part.
Yeah,
this might be a very Scorpio thing to say, but I've always said that I'm very stubborn in the sense that I won't fail because I can't, because I won't stop regardless of what happens.
Well, I think
so that might be part of the perseverance aspect.
I think that's what a lot of people are lacking nowadays, honestly, is I've seen a lot of people as well with like music. I've seen people start up, get all the equipment and everything, get the, programs they need on their computer and everything, and then they drop it within like 2 years. And it's like, no, you need to do this for a while before you even get like noticed by big guys.
I've been doing this since March of 2020.
4 years already? That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's wild. That's
a lot of hiatuses in there.
Yeah.
But I always came back.
Yeah. That's the determination and stubbornness.
Yeah.
Exactly. And but that's what it, and because I've seen that as well. Like the periods, the hiatuses, and what got you there. But there was always the bounce back, and almost always stronger than usual.
Yeah.
In a better situation,
You're not starting over, you're starting from where you were.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
exactly.
That's the coolest part about doing the same thing for so many years. That's it's kind of how I feel with tarot reading is like, I picked it up when I was so young because my great aunt was into it and I just thought she was the coolest person ever. And I was like, I want to be like her. And I asked her for a deck and she gave me my first deck ever, and it was flower spirit cards. So it wasn't even tarot or oracle. It was just these cards that I kind of just felt connected to and I could play around with and like have some guidance because like, I had my grandparents, but my mom wasn't really around, so I kind of would ask cards more. So that was a cool thing to have, just growing up and being able to come back to it as an adult and add it into, my relationships with friends and family as well, as being able to like, you can always be there for your friends, but how many people can do a tarot reading for you and give you some extra answers?
True.
So I think that's a really cool aspect of it as well. So.
All right. Awesome. Now, I guess me personally,
You personally. All right.
And I don't have a special question or anything. Just go general. This is interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm glad we went and got this tarot deck. Shout out to Otherworld Tarot by Allison Williams, and the artwork is by Sarah Noel.
Also, shout out Purple Door, where we got it from.
Yes.
In our little vlog segment that may or may not make the video.
It'll be in the intro probably.
Or,
You know, sometimes tarot can kind of like call people out and be a little
cheeky.
well, like, yeah,
I'm okay with that.
Like,
I got thick skin.
well, these ones have been so positive.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. You guys just got good energy, I guess.
Actually got the goodest vibes.
We got the
Goodest
all
vibes.
provision.
We got the all provision. We got
So I was pulling the third card and a fourth one came out.
Okay.
Um,
I guess that means something. Fourth one, extra little bonus.
usually when
info?
they jump out, they just think you need to know this. You
Okay.
know? So I'm also gonna go with the card underneath, which is the shadow card.
Okay.
So for
It's a
your
cousin of Scorpio.
maybe it's calling you out. You
This
know?
is, I will say this spread is oddly scorpion shaped. Coincidence?
I mean
I
that's
think
that is one interpretation of that shape.
Got the claws and it's even got the little.
Yeah, sure.
That's what I'm saying.
I see it.
Yes. Yeah, we crabs get it. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Real recognizes real.
So in your past, I see the high priestess, which represent like meditation. So kind of like a lot of the I would say that represents for you a lot of like how you were saying your bounce backs, like you know take hiatuses, but you'd always kind of come to this conclusion like, hey, no, I want to do this, so I'm gonna do that. And so you'd like almost meditate on it and kind of think through, you know, what you should be doing, what you are doing. And so you came to the conclusions that you did to be able to, you know, make the decisions like continuing the podcast every single time, or just the decision to pursue your dream rather than fall into a 9 to 5 like everybody else.
I don't belong in a 9 to 5.
I don't either.
I fall
It
asleep.
sucks. Yeah.
True story.
Literally.
Really?
Yeah.
Man. For the present, I see a 3 of Cups, which is a celebration.
Well, hi.
To me, that kind of just shows, you know, the enjoyment that you're having in the present. Like you said, this is what you love to do. So it's like that honeymoon phase of having a business that you're like, I get to do what I love to do.
Mhm.
And I want to share this with other people. And so you're getting to actually experience that hype and that joy of what you're wanting to create and what you are creating, have created already. And then I see for your future, first dark thing, I see relationships, but it's inverted, which means it came out upside down.
What does that mean? Okay.
So inverted usually means it's like the opposite of what it typically means. So this one is lovers, which is the relationships card. And it could mean multiple things, which is kind of hard to pinpoint for you right now. I'm feeling like it has something to do with picking between dedication to relationships and dedication to your work. And kind of you having to decide
Applicable.
if, you know, where your time is best spent. And, you know, if somebody who you meet that you like provides, you know, enough enjoyment and love and care for you, as well as space for you to be able to do this and everything that you've worked so hard to set up for yourself.
Mhm.
And I think that's just kind of a hard aspect in relationships in general. So I can see that that's where this is kind of warning you, like, hey, you know, don't get so lost in your work that you don't, you know, look for a partner, but also don't get so lost in a partner that you give up on this.
Yeah. You know, that's I'll comment on that. I don't want to get too deep because that could be a whole conversation.
Yeah.
But I will say we've talked about that before to a couple of times to a degree of like kind of focusing on ourselves and building up ourselves. Cause like I definitely in my like teen years fell into a trap a little bit of like in early 20s even falling into a trap of like I need to be dating. I need to find a partner. I need that. But I kind of slowly but surely kind of worked my way out of that of feeling like I really need to focus on myself first. Partially because if I want a good partner, I need to be a good partner. So I need to build myself, but also focusing career-wise as well.
Yeah. Finding that.
And I'm not
balance.
good. And sometimes I can be obsessive. So I'm not good at balancing between like two things like that.
Yeah.
So that's like that makes a lot of sense.
Interesting. I'm glad that was, relevant and resonated because I wasn't exactly sure, but that's sometimes how these things go, just because, it could be so many different things. But that's what I felt like how this would resonate with you the most. And then I have another
What is
card.
this jumpy boy? What is this one?
This guy that just came and jumped out at you, he is the Chariot, which is like different energies. You can see it has a white and a black horse pulling the chariot forward. And it was inverted. So what I take from that is like how you were saying the balance of your work and your relationships. Finding those different energies and how to kind of, like bring them to scale to like an even amount so that you're not just, like you said, over focusing in one direction or the other. Which I see your shadow card, which is the Hanged Man, which is like kind of just being in limbo. So I can see maybe in the future you having to more focus on that aspect of your life, like really deeply, kind of just so that you can get past it, so you can learn how to like, your best way of coping with that aspect of like your shadow self, like being able to, say, hey, from noon to this time, I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to have the same amount of time to do the other thing and da-da-da-da. And being able to schedule that, figure that out, and tricks to help with your brain, So
I may or may not find myself in a position of
internal battle.
Yeah. Of battling between balance or making a decision.
Yeah.
On a direction to go kind of thing.
Yeah. Kind of like just because, you feel the pull towards wanting to do your dream and pursue this, but you feel the pull towards wanting a relationship and a family and a future. So it's like being able to, and even when you do have a family in the future, being able to find time like with your kids and then with the podcast, because hopefully it'll still be up and running by then. So, just constant, I feel like that'll be just like maybe a constant thing to just kind of monitor. Yeah.
That's realistic.
Right, yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
Yay.
Wow.
Solid readings all around.
Really solid.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Man, where should we go from here? That was a solid
What's the
session.
We're coming up on time.
Yeah, we're coming up on 2 hours almost. Do you have any other topics or anything you want to cover before we wrap up?
Well, I was gonna say the last thing that I do that I like to people to know about
Please.
is that I make art. So I make
we need to cover that.
Jewelry. I sell vape holders. I've actually made these earrings a while ago. How many years has it been?
Probably
3.
No, it was just like two.
Two?
A couple of years.
Okay, so yeah, and then
That's actually like a big part of the reason you're here, to be honest. Well, because like I met you by happenstance, not knowing that you already knew a bunch of people I knew.
Yeah,
which tends to happen to me a lot somehow in my life. I tend to meet somebody and then it becomes a full circle moment where they know other people that I know. I didn't know that they were connected also.
Yeah, I remember telling you that story about what happened. And you're like, oh yeah, I
Yeah.
heard about that. And I was like,
How did
"You
I know
about me?
How did
was
I
like,
know
what?
immediately what you're talking about?
yeah.
The incident.
The incident. They tried to cancel me, y'all.
It's
okay. I've grown.
The incident.
Can't cancel a white girl in Taylor Swift's America.
Oh man.
Can't do it.
I'm not
Ain't no way.
Swiftie. I'm not.
Ain't no way. Just kidding.
I'm dead.
You can try, but you can't get rid of us. No, but I actually sell jewelry at some of the kava bars around here. Like, for example, Kava Cat, which is where him and I originally met. I still sell jewelry there, and I have some earrings and necklaces up there that are some of like the OG pieces that I've actually made.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's a really cool place to go check out Kava Cat. And I also sell jewelry at Island Root and Stewart. I got a little stand over by the door, so you can go check that out. They got some glow-in-the-dark earrings and some necklaces with some resin pieces on them and such. I'm actually wearing one of the necklaces right now, and it's pretty cool because the jars are filled with a UV resin. So
Ooh.
you walk outside and then you come into like a, kind of slightly darker room. That
It's
UV,
glowing.
it glows really bright too.
That's cool.
So it's really fun.
That's sick.
Yeah. That's one of the aspects that I've been like adding into my art pieces, the glowing aspect more so recently. But I also picked up crocheting again. It's kind of a cute story because when I was younger, I was diagnosed with ADHD, and they wrote me a little doctor's note saying I could crochet in class because it was supposed to help with my focus. And it did. I was a straight A student, so they had no issue with it. I was told if my grades were slipping, I was going to have to stop. So I stayed on my stuff and I was able to do it. So when I was like bored during COVID, I was like, oh, maybe pick up crocheting again. So I did. And one of the things I started making were these cute little vape holders. I actually got the idea from
Keep your nicotine warm.
tutorial on a lighter holder, so you could
That's
take
cool.
your lighter around with you or whatever, and just have like a little cute pouch. So it's like based off a little mushroom shape, and the cap goes up and down the lanyard,
Oh,
and
that's
then
cool.
you just have your vape in the little pouch part. And I put patches on them. This one has a little cactus patch, and he has a little peyote bud on top of him. So
Or if you don't vape, you
It's
could
cute.
put your drugs in there or your change.
I've
or-
actually made one from a friend of mine's son, and he went to the beach with them, and he would put shells
Nice.
in his little pouch. It was a Spider-Man pouch. I did a black web over a red
That's-
cap.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then the little Spider-Man patch on it. So those are some of the things I also sell. I also do anything custom. Like I can make you hats. I love making these little gnome hats. That's one of the newer things that I've been making.
Hell yeah.
Just funky yarn,
Get
all
gnomed.
going in different layers.
I'm getting old.
One of the things I wanted to learn actually was how to make little witch hats, like the one that Silas has,
Mm.
like those kind of things. So that's one of the newer things that I'm making. I recently made 100% cotton hood to spin fire in as well. So I'll be
Nice.
selling those at Flow Night sometime soon.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I also saw these. One of the things I'll let you know, a little secret that I'm planning on doing is the
Exclusive.
Ooh.
solar color dust. They offer a thermal fabric dye, so it changes the color of the fabric in the sunlight.
Oh,
They
okay.
have it all sorts of different like colors to transition from and to. You may have seen it. It's kind of like on a viral video where the dress goes from pink and then she goes in the sunlight and it's blue.
I don't think
and
I've
it's
seen
like-
that. What I have seen has been around for a long time is ones that do that with water,
Yeah,
where
they have
if
those
it's
too.
one color and then if it's wet, it changes colors
Yeah, I've seen those as well, but this one's
from sunlight.
kind of like it's thermal
That's cool.
fabric dye. So
Or I
I
guess
want
just
to
heat,
make
yeah.
sock poi,
Okay.
crochet some sock poi and put that on it.
Nice.
So
That
that
would be
way
cool.
when you're
Yeah.
spinning at a festival in the sunlight, it changes colors when you go in the shade and stuff. It's just cute little things that I got going,
Cooking up.
Right on.
cooking up.
Big things coming. I gotta stop. This is gonna be a really bad habit now. We have video cameras. Just like, yeah.
I'm doing it too. I don't care.
Yeah.
I
Embrace
love
it.
it. It's a thing now.
Yeah, fair
Yeah.
enough.
Big things.
Big things coming this way.
Well, thank you so much for being on. Come and join us.
Thank you.
This was really fun. Thank you for the readings. Any final? Oh, actually, no. Wait. No. We have another topic.
Yes.
Another important topic. I'm sorry. Hold on. False alarm. Do you have any paranormal experiences
Oh, man.
with
Ghost stories.
with ghosts, with aliens, with crazy visions,
Cryptids.
cryptids? Do you have anything of the paranormal or occult or abstract or supernatural or anything that has? Do you have multiple? Let's keep it to one. Let's keep it to a couple main
It's
ones.
hard to pick.
Pick me a couple of
Okay.
ones that change. You feel like changed you. Ones that you're comfortable sharing. Ones that like were impactful, I guess.
Well, oh man, I will share with you probably 3.
Okay.
One of the first times I ever saw, like, I call them shadow people.
Mm-hmm.
I used to see them a lot as a kid. I see them a lot less now. I think that's just kind of, growing up and being out of touch with yourself more. But, my dad worked at this Palm Beach sailing club in Palm Beach down south, and he was the property manager, and I'd go and hang out there after school with him, so I wouldn't have to like go to a daycare or whatever. And they did like sailing classes and such, so it was really cool to be able to get to do that stuff. But they had a haunted boathouse. And I never believed it. I was always so skeptical. And then I remember one day I was out there with my friends, and it was after they do races every year where they go and take out the boats and they let the kids race. And so I remember it was just me and like 4 other kids, and we were just walking towards the boathouse. It was a normal day, and I look up and I see this lady just she was pale, and she just had a hole in her face, just like a hole instead of a mouth. The hole was there.
Interesting.
And then just really dark eyes, like no, you couldn't see the eyes, but it was like dark where they would be. And it was just, you could see her hair blowing, and she was hanging out the window. And I was like,
of the boathouse?
Okay. Upstairs of the boathouse.
Okay.
And I was like, first of all, those windows don't open. So I was like, what the actual heck is going on right now? So I was like, do you guys see this right now? And they're like, yes, we do. What? Like, you're seeing it too?
Oh, so that everybody saw this.
Yeah. So it was me and other
Ooh.
friends. So
That lends more credence to it.
freaking out. I was like, do we go investigate or do we run away? Like, what do we
shoot
do?
it? What do we?
Two of my friends ran away. They were like, no, we're not doing that. You guys are crazy. And I was like, I'm gonna go check it out. So I went up and I walked towards
You went
it.
in it?
I went in it. Yeah. I used to be really into the dark and all like asylums.
Did you have at least a
go.
flashlight or something?
Oh, it was daylight.
Oh, it was daylight.
It was daylight. It was.
I was thinking, like, kind of
before
like-
sunset. No, because they had just finished the race,
Gotcha.
so it was still pretty
I was
light out.
thinking it was still getting darker.
No, and that's why I was so convinced that I actually saw it, because it's not like in the dark where your eyes kind of play tricks on you and some shadows and no, like I straight up saw it. And I go towards it with my other 2 friends that stayed, and I remember looking at Wade and I was like, are you gonna go first? And he's like, no, this was your idea. So I go up the steps and
Valid.
it's skinny, so I'm like trying to get around all the like, there's like ropes and buoys and stuff in there, like they use it, it's
Yeah.
full of stuff. So I'm trying to get up there, and I go up there and I realize that the wall has like this border around it, and then on the bottom it looks like little like cabinets, but they're like locked and they're painted over, so they're like closed, and it looked like black hair just sticking out of one of them. Like there was nobody there. The window was closed again, but it looked like there was hair sticking out of the wall, and I lost it. I ran. I turned around.
When you say
pushed them.
hair, like
Because I remember seeing her, and her hair was pitch black, and it was blowing in front of her face, kind of, and in front of her shoulders. And that's what it looked like, was like in the cubby hole of the wall. And so I just booked it. I was like,
you didn't get any closer.
So
No.
what you're telling me is there's a
Just-
head in that wall.
I I figured, I was like, did somebody like do something really bad a while ago before they even bought this place or something? Like, I wonder. Like, I don't know. I asked people about it. They have no idea. Nobody ever says that anything bad happened in there or anything. So I do not know how, because like things can have spirits attached to them too. So it could have been something they had in the boathouse. It could have been something that happened there before they don't know about. Like, I don't know. But just had this dark, ominous feeling come over me and I just ran. I was like 8, 9 years old.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I was like, I'm out.
Dude.
Never mind.
The fact you were willing to do that at all at 8 or 9, you're
I was so curious. Well, because I saw shadow people. So I was like, what is she going to do?
okay. I guess, yeah, fair.
Try me. Try me.
Yeah.
Try me. I was like, you can't touch me.
I didn't know shadow people. You ain't even dark.
It wasn't until I was with my Girl Scout group and it was my first time using a Ouija board
Oh,
that
hell.
I finally was like, they can touch me.
Mm.
I remember it was so scary. We had just gotten done with our Girl Scout meeting and we were all hanging out because it was at my friend Lindsay's house. And we were all putting our fingers on the little, I forget what it's called, but the thing then that you move around the Ouija board.
I don't remember either.
So we're doing that. We're asking it questions like, what's your name? And so it starts like spelling things out. And like, I kind of like pushed a little bit to see if there was any resistance and I could feel my friend pushing. So I was like, Lindsay, let go. And so she stopped. And then, so it was just me and like 4 other people at this point. And so I, pushed it a little bit and it moved. So I was like, I'm sorry. I was just checking to see if you guys were pushing. And so we were just, going with it. And it's real slow. It's moving like the speed of a snail. But it just draws it out. It makes it feel so much scarier. And we asked it like, are you here with us? Because what it spelled out wasn't really like a name. So we weren't sure what it was trying to say. So it said yes. And then
So was it like
we
something
were like,
in Latin or something?
I honestly don't know. I think it was just like we missed a letter or something and it would like glided over it and then we didn't like write that one down. But when it said yes, we asked it to prove it and it said no. And we argued with it.
The ghost knew. He's like, don't make me do this.
Literally,
Come on.
he
I'm
said no.
I'm just trying to have a good time. Don't.
I'm just vibing, bro.
Yeah.
Let me be.
And so
Man.
we were persistent. We were, young girls were stubborn. So we were like, no, like if you're real, we want proof. And all of a sudden, it got really cold in the room. The lights all went out. Like they were all plugged into different outlets and they all went out at once. The door locked. And we all simultaneously started screaming.
That ghost is just like, I told you.
So
Fucking dumbass.
Fuck around and find out.
Dumbass kids.
Yeah, that's gonna be me when I
was just about to say, it's like,
and so her mom hears us screaming and she comes running up and I hear her footsteps getting closer and closer and I could hear it go and unlock this right before she touched the door and all the lights turned on. It got warm again. It went away. All of it went away. All like that. So
Even
I was
ghosts
like,
are scared
"There's
of moms."
No way.
Yeah.
Right? So it was like no way that didn't happen. And I don't know. It was just so scary. It was like it moved something.
Mhm.
I was like, oh my God, they have power over the physical realm. No.
I genuinely,
Scared.
because that's the first time that I'm sure it has to have happened, but that's the first time that I've heard of a ghost just being like, I'd rather not, but then doing it.
Yeah.
Like I kind of respect that like a lot,
Yeah.
It's like, cause it probably just not its first
Holding
rodeo.
back its true
It's probably
power.
like its 4th like Ouija board conjuring. It's just
Right.
like, oh, this again. Okay, word. Well, no, I don't have to prove it again.
They always say prove it. They always
say they always want. Okay, trauma time turns off everything.
Yeah, right.
Tried.
The last thing isn't really like a ghost story. It's more about like a what are they called?
A specter.
No, the people
Orb.
that hear them.
medium.
Oh,
Medium.
clairvoyant.
Thank you.
Oh,
Clairvoyant.
either.
Both.
It's kind of
Same thing. So my mom had passed away in 2018, right after like living with me. And so I my family's from Virginia, so I went up there for the funeral, and my aunt, my mom's sister, had called me and she said like, hey, I have a friend, you know, he didn't really know Dawn that well, but he, you know, was a friend of mine. He has autism, and he keeps telling me to ask for you, and I don't know if you would be interested or not, but do you want to go talk to him? He says that your mom is talking to him and asking for you. And I was like, because it was so out of the blue. I was like, are you, like, yeah, any chance I can have to go talk to her, of course I'm gonna go try it, especially me being me into this stuff.
How long after she passed did this happen?
Within the first month.
Okay.
So pretty recent, because she was in Vegas when it happened, and then she had to be cremated there and then sent back home. So it was a while before she was even home. And then they had to set up everything with the funeral and such. So it was about like a month after. But so my aunt asked me to come with her, and I go with her, and her daughter, Allie, also has autism, and she's nonverbal. And she's one of my favorite people in the world. She's so sweet. She can say things like words and such, but it's kind of hard for her to like have full on conversations like this and full on sentences and such. So it was really interesting to go there with her as well. And I'll tell you why, because like the guy, first of all, when I met him, looked like he was like stop bothering me, woman. Like you know when you've seen like a wife in a guy's ear and she's yelling at him, and he's like, back up, you're loud. Like you need to like give me some space. Yeah. Like that's what this guy, his mannerisms were doing, where he was like, stop fucking let me talk then if you want me to tell her things. Like you know, like he's looking over his shoulder like, shut up, woman. And and he's like, are you sure you want me to say that? And so the mannerisms alone gave it away that like this guy wasn't just crazy. And as well as you know, he knew my name. He knew the nickname my mom called me my whole life.
Really?
Little girl. Don't know why. But and then she was saying certain things about like the situations that we had just gone through before she passed, that there's no way this guy would have known. Like my aunt didn't know. Nobody on my mom's side of the family knew about any of this. He was a complete stranger to me, and he was like, you know, telling me things like, oh, you need to leave him. You're not safe. Oh. I want you to be better. You know, like, and then I asked questions like, what is it like for you? Like, how did you get here? And then she said, doorways of light. And that was one of the coolest things, because I was like, how did they just go to where their loved ones are? Like, how do you, you know, move around in the spiritual plane? So like I went from, I wanted to ask like her personal questions to see if it was like authentic, and then I wanted to ask as many questions as I could about like the afterlife or whatever it was, the limbo that she was in or whatever, which really solidified it. Especially as like, I don't know how to explain it, because like even my cousin, she would look exactly where he was like putting his ear to, and she kept pointing and saying Dawn, which is my mom's name. So I was like, two people are like, I don't know, I feel like she could see her, but he could hear her. So it was like two mediums at once. But it was like really cool to just kind of witness that.
Sort of filling in the gaps for each other sort of thing? Well,
no, just the fact that like her looking where he was listening at was kind of just like reaffirming that it wasn't fake. He wasn't just saying whatever voices were saying in his head, you know? And so that was one of the cooler things. That's what got me to believe in like mediums, and, you know, that deities can actually talk to you through cards, and that you can talk to loved ones, and, you know, the whole like Day of the Dead thing where you honor them, and as long as you remember them, they'll still be around.
Yeah.
Things like that. Like that was probably one of the coolest experiences that made me really
that's very powerful. Yeah.
Believe in spiritualism.
Wow. One thing you mentioned that is something that I've kind of always thought about and struggled with in my skepticism of when I say skepticism, I'm not discrediting your experience, because I'm open-minded.
Mhm.
But one thing that's always kind of like been a how does this work type, how does this make sense type of question is you said like how does she find her way to you, like in the afterlife, right?
Mhm.
Like my thought has always been like, if we have like ghosts and spirits and etc., and they're not physical, what tethers them here? Like, what is it that keeps them from just being able to or choosing to just explore space? Like, because like everything in space in our physical realm is always moving. There is no stationary.
That's why it's called metaphysics. It's the idea that through physical phenomena there can occur meta phenomena on top of what we understand to be natural order,
Mhm.
that, you know, to us as humans can be interpreted in certain ways, like ghosts, etc. When
like-
in reality it could just be like we have, you know, life force in us, and then life force floats around when it's out of the bodies, and my life force interacts with yours, but then to us as individuals that manifests as you the person, this form, and then me the person seeing you, interacting with you.
Because
versus like,
well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off,
Okay.
but this might sound kind of dorky, like might get to a sci-fi realm, but because I had thought about like, what if in the future we have colonies on other planets or whatever, and people start dying on those planets? Is the afterlife connected to like a astral body, or is it a separate realm entirely that can access our Earth? Or is it like, if we have a colony on Mars and 1,000 years from now, whatever, we have a civilization there, people die and are born and whatever, is it like a separate afterlife, like a separate realm? Or
is the secret to interplanetary travel the ethereal plane?
right, is there astral projection? Is that how you have to travel? You know, like that. Those are the kind of things I was thinking of, like what binds them here? Like, why would they be here and not anywhere else?
Well, I mean, I've always been explained emotions are just energy that need like somewhere to go. So if that's the case, then the energy probably is what tethers them. It's like they're like the unfinished business or whatever. The fact that my mom was trying to find anyone that could hear her to tell me something that she thought was like so important that I needed to know because it was life or death. Like that. Like once she conveyed her message, I felt this like boulder kind of just lift off my shoulders. And I feel like that was her just going to whatever. And I believe in reincarnation. So I believe in like, you know, we're just transformed into a different kind of energy. So like I might be a tree, and then that tree could die, and then that turns into a butterfly or whatever the heck. And then eventually I come back and be a human again in like 10 cycles. So, I mean, it could be the planet's energy field which traps us in, or it could be, you know, which would create a separate place, at least of purgatory or limbo, if we were on a different planet. Or it could be
like, why was this one dies in transit from one planet to another? Like, is their spirit just like stuck there floating?
I don't think so.
Or do they revert back to where they came from? Or, you know?
I mean, probably revert back to where it came from, because that energy is where, like, that's where it came
Originated.
from, the source of it. So, like, you know, that source is going to call that back and make it into something else. It's like,
of course,
the
there's
same
no
amount of energy has been on Earth the whole time.
Yeah, I guess, of course,
Just
like
using it.
we won't have answers to these type
We'll
of
never
questions
know.
for a long time, because we've never been able to even ask that question.
Mhm.
You know, all human history, we've always been here, so never even had to think about it. But
Indeed.
there's always something in the back of my head that it was like, why?
I always say, if you
What are-
act like you know for sure, you definitely don't know. It's like, you can't.
Yeah.
The only thing one can know for certain is that they know nothing.
Correct.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on that note, you don't know shit.
You know what I do know? That you should like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah. Yes.
And then that's
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the tag. There you go.
Yeah.
And what I know is you should hire me for all your events, whether it be fire spinning, tarot reading, selling jewelry, vending, or even just, I don't know, being your friend.
Hire you to be the friend.
I don't care.
Hire you to hang out.
Yo, friend for hire. That's a real thing
Friend for
nowadays. That's probably a valid business strategy
Yeah.
nowadays.
Honestly, friend for hire.
Also, go visit keywesttourist.com, alienlife.net, and spreadtheflow.com.
There you go. All those will be in the description. Anything else to plug?
Keep watching this podcast.
Thank you. Do that.
And keep drinking water.
Do that.
Yeah, stay hydrated.
Stay hydrated. And here's something I haven't said in a long time. Wash your hands. Big
True.
one.
True.
Thank
Why
you guys.
Why do I need to wash my hands when my dick's clean?